Hello and welcome to the CNBC TV18 Newsmaker. I'm Shereen Bhan. A survey commissioned by SAP India highlights that almost three-fourths of Indian mid-market enterprises have moved their applications to cloud platforms. The survey assessed over 350 Indian mid-market enterprises with an annual revenue between 500 crores to 2,000 crores. It reveals that 82% of such mid-market enterprises are reducing their focus from on-premises business applications and hiking investments in cloud technology. That's not all. 68% enterprises either intend to increase or retain their IT spends in 2022. The growing trend of digital resilience among mid-market enterprises, what does it mean for SAP? We're now joined by Kulmeet Bawa, the President and Managing Director of SAP for the Indian subcontinent. Kulmeet, always a pleasure. Many thanks for joining us here on CNBC TV18. Let me first ask you to break up for us what the survey is indicating. You know, over the last 18 months, we have seen an acceleration of digital adoption, whether it's for large enterprises or, in fact, for mid-market enterprises, which is something that the survey clearly highlights. But what are the specific trends that you're noticing in what IT spending is focused on and how much more we can expect going forward?
Yeah, fantastic, Shereen, and thank you for having me over. And just a one big picture. We are proud to have completed 25 years of our presence in India, of SAP's presence in India, and that's 2.5 decades of building trust and credibility and contributing, holistically to India's growth story. All I can say is privileged and humbled. And to your point on the survey. Look, the mid-market business, and I'll focus on that for a second because that's what the survey covers. The mid-market business is very close to our hearts and is a very, very important growth engine for us. And just to give you a perspective, today, 80% of our customers in India, Shereen, belong to this segment. So more than 10,000 customers. We understand the requirements. We understand the aspirations. We've made substantial investments into that segment. Product, people, partnership across the spectrum, helping customers move across the value chain, expand their business. Talking about this survey per se and some of the findings, Shereen, it spoke more about digital resiliency across operational, financial, leadership, to name a few of the facets. And I'll talk about some of the findings as we move on. I think the first key finding for us, Shereen, was that 74% of the mid-market enterprises today are moving their applications to the cloud. And you rightly said, they're moving away from the on-prem business. 46% of them are actually adopting a hybrid cloud strategy. So they are, in essence, identifying the right workloads for themselves in terms of the deployment model. And not really a surprise with the movement that we are seeing. Because we all understand the advantages of harnessing the cloud, especially after what we faced through the pandemic. I could go on with some of the other findings if you're okay, but unless there's a specific question there, Shereen.
Yeah. Thanks for giving us a very quick overview and highlighting what we are seeing as far as the mid-market is concerned. And congratulations to SAP on completing 25 years in India. But, you were talking about the move towards the hybrid cloud, Kulmeet. What I also want to understand from you is, you've obviously gotten a pulse check through the survey. What's the expectation for these enterprises in being able to return to pre-pandemic levels of growth, hiring? What are they telling you at this point in time? And really, the digital move, what has that meant in terms of both cost optimization and operational efficiency?
Yeah, Shereen, absolutely. So the overall sentiment, what the survey spells out is that 75% of mid-market enterprises will return to their operations to the pre-pandemic levels by the end of the year. Right? And 83% of these enterprises are focusing on objectives like business continuity, etc., in addition to the whole digital resiliency that we are talking. So that's point number one. Second, the survey also very clearly indicates, Shereen, that 68% of the customers that were actually surveyed, right, they intend to increase or retain their IT spend in 2022, which is phenomenal. And this increase would be to the tune of 5 to 10% minimum. And we've seen this trend across banking, across financial services, across insurance, healthcare, pharmaceuticals. So a spectrum of industry segments. Now, when we look at some of the other pieces that the survey brought out, especially around operational and workforce resiliency, and I think this is super important, Shereen. As we've all seen, I guess the second wave truly put our operations across the country, especially across the mid-market, to a virtual standstill. And suppliers were unable to fulfill orders due to restrictions on, transport or labor, or just disrupted supply chains. Now, today, a lot of companies have actually introduced automation in their operation, and that's one of the findings of the survey. In fact, it indicates that today 58% of the companies surveyed, these enterprises, have an ERP system in place in order to provide a visibility or a full visibility of operations across departments. On the workforce piece, and I'd just like to call this out because I think more and more what we are seeing, employee retention has been one of the top people-related challenges for the mid-market. And today, 50% of the enterprises, as per the survey, are taking an integrated approach towards employee experience and engagement post the pandemic, versus a number of about 36%, which was pre-pandemic. So in essence, simplifying and adopting a much better and holistic HR practices, I guess, is definitely becoming a need of the day. And then there were a couple of interesting findings around customer resiliency. But I'll pause here for a second. But I'd like to explain some of that, Shereen.
Yeah, go ahead then. Very quickly, if you can take us through, what the survey is highlighting and what we should focus on in terms of what these enterprises are telling you on customer resilience.
Perfect. So on customer resilience, essentially, what we are seeing today is that, we are living in the experience era very clearly. So from a customer standpoint, managing and advancing the customer journey has now become a focal point, right? So it's all about ubiquitous, magical, real-time, personalized experiences that need to be delivered to the consumers. And the survey clearly spells out that 40% of enterprises today are adopting an end-to-end approach for managing the customer journey based on customer behavior and insights. And that's the whole omni-channel customer experience that we are talking about, Shereen. And, apart from the survey, I'm just saying that we actually instituted this to tally this on ground. And we've got a plethora of customers today, the likes of MG Motors, et cetera, that are actually adopting this strategy in the real world every single day, even when they are coming up with their new vehicles. And I think it was called the Astor, the mid-size SUV, where they did a flash sale online, which was only through a digital mode. So very, very interesting from a customer resiliency perspective, Shereen.
Right. Kulmeet, before I let you go, you talked about the growth opportunity here in India. Take me through what we should expect. What kind of growth rates do you believe you're going to be able to deliver on as we head into 2022? And where does India stack up for SAP in terms of the global pecking order?
Fantastic, Shereen. And look, we continue to do, as a company, we continue to do what we do best, which is helping businesses manage their top lines and bottom lines, running their supply chains and value chains, handling their mission-critical operations. And we've got more than 450,000 customers worldwide, right? And 74% of the world's transactions actually today, Shereen, touch an SAP system. Exciting times at SAP, as we ourselves today are transforming into what I call a true blue cloud company, Shereen. And business has been amazing globally. From an India standpoint, to your point, it's been one of the fastest growing markets for us globally. And I don't know if you know, but India is the second largest establishment for SAP outside of Germany, with some cutting edge innovation and IP creation. And like I mentioned, we are celebrating our Silver Jubilee year. Now, what we are seeing in terms of growth rates, not giving you exact, but definitely it's been exponential growth rates that we are witnessing in India. We saw a lot of volatility initially, when the pandemic started, or for the first 6 months, and then we saw a massive adoption onto digital, or people moving onto the digital bandwagon very, very quickly, Shereen. No longer they have the question of the why, but everyone came back to us asking us on the how can we do it faster? Should we go modular? Should we go comprehensive? Questions like that. I'm happy to say that, today from an India standpoint, Shereen, 60% of India's GDP, actually touches an SAP system. I'll pause here again, but there's a lot there and a massive traction and growth that we are seeing.
Well, that's good to hear, Kulmeet, and we wish you the very best of luck as you move into the new year here in India. But as always, appreciate your time and thanks very much for walking us through what the mid-market enterprise survey is telling us about digital adoption as well as workflow resiliency. We will head into a break, but up next, Mukesh Ambani, Sunil Mittal and Kumar Mangalam Birla at the 5th edition of the Indian Mobile Congress. That and more when we get back.